Joe. Crazy Joe. Yeah, I'm Crazy Joe. I be running through the snow. Got no pants, got no shirt, got no mother.
Good morning. It is a cool and rainy Thursday night in May. We're back at the Regal. Doesn't feel like May, doesn't feel like Memorial Day weekend. It's a little too chilly, very rainy. But we are here to see the new movie opening tonight, Friendship. Friendship starring Tim Robinson from Netflix's I Think You Should Leave and Paul Rudd. I'm a big fan of the TV show I Think You Should Leave. This movie looks really funny. It didn't get a very wide release. We're checking it out though. Mission Impossible opens tonight too, but I'm far more interested in Friendship. And speaking of friendship, look who I found.
Okay, we're doing this? Is it still doing this? Is it still happening? Alright. Sup?
Alright, Dave is already in the theater. We are headed to Auditorium 16. And it's fairly crowded in here today. I mean, you can't see it now, but up in the main lobby, a lot of people here. Probably for Lilo and Stitch, probably for Mission Impossible. But Friendship, which is a smaller film, surprisingly big turnout. Of course, it is one of the only theaters in the area showing this movie, so that probably helped. There it is. Men Shouldn't Have Friends. Got a surprisingly big turnout.
How was your day?
And we are back. Let me tell you something. Last weekend, I was out with my wife, and I said to her, you know what is unfortunate? It's been a very, very long time, since there was a comedy that really packed people in. Like a lot of people in the theater watching a comedy, and that experience of a group of people laughing together, because laughter is contagious. And if there's any genre of film that is best served by watching in a theater collectively with other people, it is comedy, because comedy just feels funnier when you're sharing it and laughing with others. And I remember the days when, Something About Mary would come out, or what are some of the other big comedies? 40-Year-Old Virgin, like all these big comedies of the 80s and 90s. Anchorman. They would just, pack them in. People would go. It was maybe the most accessible genre of film there was. Not everyone's into sci-fi. Not everyone's into superheroes. Not everyone's into romance films. But everyone likes to laugh. So comedies, more so than any other genre, it seemed back in the day, would really draw an audience. And that feeling of being in a room laughing with a bunch of other people, we've lost that. Because now everyone's like, well, I'm not going to go out to the theater unless it's a big special effects spectacle, extravaganza. Anything smaller or more low budget, they're like, I can wait for streaming. And honestly, the superhero movies, as good as they are, I enjoy them. They probably lend themselves better to streaming than the comedies do, because the comedies, the collective of having all those people together laughing, there's something there, and we've lost it. And I said to my wife, how long's it been? She couldn't remember. Well, I bought tickets to see Friendship the other day on the mobile app, and I knew, Dave Perillo was coming with me. I picked up both of our tickets, and I looked, and at the time I bought the tickets, we were literally the only two in the theater. Wasn't surprised. A small indie comedy film coming out the same weekend as Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible. Who's going to see that? We're probably the only ones. I thought we would be sitting in an empty audience. Well, apparently after I bought the tickets, a lot of other people did too, because it was a pretty packed theater last night. I was shocked. I was shocked that with Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible both having their first weekends, that this many people went out to see Friendship, starring Tim Robinson. Now, Tim Robinson has a popular Netflix show called I Think You Should Leave. I know people like it. I like it. Dave Perillo likes it. But I never talk to people that like it. Whenever I say to people, have you ever seen I Think You Should Leave? They're like, what's that? So it seems like it's one of these shows that it definitely has a fan base, but the general public doesn't seem to know what it is. If you ask them, they're always like, what? I never heard of that show. At least that's been my experience. So I thought, well, nobody follows Tim Robinson except us. No one's going to go see this. I was wrong, man. That theater was pretty full. Now, it wasn't a sold-out show. There were empty seats. But relatively speaking, less people go to the movies these days than they used to. Most of the time I go to the movies, it's a pretty empty theater. But 10 p.m. on a Thursday night, opening against two much more popular films, this little Tim Robinson comedy had a pretty packed audience. And just as I was saying to my wife, what happened to that experience of watching a movie, a comedy film with an audience and everybody laughing together? I thought it was dead. And then, boom, last night I experienced it. It was great. It was great. Not only did I like the movie, I highly recommend this movie. If you want to laugh, Friendship is funny. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to give too much away. Go in and experience it. Maybe you want to check out I Think You Should Leave first. If you've never heard of Tim Robinson, if you don't know who Tim Robinson is, maybe you want to check out I Think You Should Leave, because I don't think his humor translates to everybody. I don't think he is going to appeal to all audiences. You gotta know if you're on his wavelength or not. It's awkward comedy. Awkward. I believe they call it, I hate the term, but I believe they call it cringe comedy, because he's just so socially awkward and the things he does are so weird. I believe that's what they call it, cringe comedy. So if that's not your thing, you're probably not going to like this. But if you watch like an episode of I Think You Should Leave and it makes you laugh, then you're probably in tune with this style of humor, and I can't recommend this enough. I laughed from start to finish, and the whole audience was laughing. We were all laughing. It was very funny. The premise is, he's a married man, teenage son, doesn't get out much. New neighbor moves to town. It's Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd invites him over for drinks. Suddenly he has a friend, and then he does something weird as a falling out, and he's kind of obsessed with getting back in with his friend again after he kind of turned them all off with his weird behavior. So that's kind of what it's. He's trying to like win back over the friend that he kind of weirded out. It's very Tim Robinson. It's very I Think You Should Leave. Paul Rudd's very funny as the neighbor who's the local TV weatherman. Kate Mara from the Kevin Spacey show. What's it called? House of Cards. She's in it. Fantastic Four. She's in it. Jack Dylan Glazer, who played Freddie Freeman in the Shazam movies. He plays the son. It's a good cast. And I don't know where this is going to come in. Like when they do the box office tallies of the weekend, I don't know where this is going to come in. It is kind of in a limited release, but I saw it with a packed house and everybody liked it. So it seems to be a crowd pleaser if the crowd shows. And that's the question. Will the crowd show nationwide? I don't know. My theater was pretty packed. How's this going to do? I don't know. But what a good time. good movie and a good theatrical experience. It was fun watching this with a crowd. I really like this, man. I really liked it. I had a great time with Friendship. I'm going to watch it again. I can't wait for this to be available on Blu-ray or streaming. Definitely, this is one I'm going to pick up. I'd like to see it in a theater again. If I could find an audience. I wonder if I don't know how this is going to do long run. That's another thing. It was a limited release. It was only in a couple theaters. So basically every Tim Robinson fan in the Philadelphia region may have ended up in the one theater since it wasn't playing anywhere else. That may have happened. I don't know. But man, I know, highly recommended. This is a good time at the movies. Friendship. Yeah. I dig it, man. All right, everybody. Till next time, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas
With the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open it, a trap.
Oh no,
It's a trap. Some people call them bitches. Some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander damas. But no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.